What's up, everybody? Grumpy Giant coming at you from my Skyblock paradise. We've got a lot to get done today, and I ended up doing a lot off camera as well. A lot of it was to get set up because we need all of these different machines, and there's still quite a few that we haven't gotten set up just yet. Anywho, yeah, so today is Nuclearcraft Reactor time. It's a big multi-block reactor, kind of like these guys. This one is going to be 9x9x9 internal. So I've got all of these reactor casings right here, right? This is a big one. This is a big one. But unlike these ones, it doesn't have to be completely filled up on the inside. So without further ado, let's get going, right? So I want to leave some space back behind. We'll start there. Maybe. Yeah, that'll be okay. So the design of these reactors is a little different too. 4, 5, 4. Is that right? I think that's closer here than I wanted. Yeah, 1 over. So we'll go right there, right meow. All right, so I want my diamond. Oh, I already had it. I want my diamond wand. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Should be 8, 9. And then we need to replace the lighting there. Okay. Now here's where it gets funky, okay? And bear with me because this is definitely odd, right? So you don't want the corners, okay? That's kind of a key. Like this goes away. Oh, nope, that's inside. That doesn't go there. So these are a bit odd because you only want the faces, right? And you can stick basically anything you want to inside. And they don't have to be a perfect square either. They can be rectangle. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, get rid of that guy. And then we'll come down here, and you can put in what would normally be considered invalid blocks in here too, which is kind of different. So this is going to come out, and then this guy. I want that on the other side. Yeah. Like that. That's better, I think. And then that's redstone. That's like an iron door. Redstone opens that one. And then up here, we'll just oh, fell off. We'll just close it off. Right? So that's all of our sides. Yep, perfect. Okay. Yes, it is large. I need it to be large. So now we can run back over here. All right, and we can grab 2 things. So I set up recipes for just about all this stuff because there's no way. I need levers. That we're going to be able to do this without having the recipes. Nuclear. Okay, so let's go get a lever on that door so we can get in and out. There we go. And the funny thing is, at least it used to be that this door doesn't need to be closed, and this will still function. I built this large because the last thing that I need is for this thing to explode. And it will explode if we let it. So let's do the controller. So we'll get the controller on here, and the controller just needs to mount on a corner. It can mount underneath, it can mount on the side, and it will still be valid. What I want to do is poke that hole right there and mount it right there. Okay. So it's a 9x9x9 fission reactor, and this will tell us, once we get some things in there, it will tell us how much power it's going to be able to produce, and all of that. And, you know, the more I think about it, the less I want this right here. Can I move it? Maybe right there? Is that still? Yeah, that's still valid. Awesome. So we're going to pop this one out now and put one of them right back there. Because I want to be able to access as many sides of this thing as I can. So now I've got those two, the bottom and there. And yeah, I had the same kind of down here with both sides and the bottom. But I don't know. Either way, it'll work. So now we need to think about how to fill this thing. And this is where Nuclearcraft gets complicated. Okay? So we're going to do a relatively small reactor. Alright? It's going to be... We need graphite blocks. Which... Are these... Yeah, okay. So, can we get the graphite ingots from Nuclearcraft? Molten graphite. I don't want to have to go through all that. Graphite block. Yeah, see, that doesn't give us the graphite ingot like that. An arc furnace and an induction. Okay, so I guess what we could do is grind them down, because if we do that, because these ones, the graphite that we get from the chickens is the Extreme Reactor's graphite, which is not the graphite we want. So let's do this. Let's grind some up, because we've got a recipe set for that. Let's grind up 100. And then once we get those, we'll run upstairs and smelt them and see what comes out. If it is the Extreme Reactor's graphite, we might have a problem. But we're going to test this, because I wonder if we put that back together, we get the Extreme Reactor's graphite. Okay. We'll have to do some research and see if maybe there is, like, the mechanism ORDIC. If it's got the mechanism or dictionary and it functions, then we might be able to swap back and forth between them. So let's see. Okay, sweet. So that's given us the right graphite. That's a pain that we have to do that, though. I'm not... And we need 14. So let's keep going. Let's do a few more so we can get this thing together. Alright. I wish I would have known that ahead of time. That would have been handy. I probably should have looked, huh? Yeah, oh well. Okay, cool. So there's 16. That's good. So let's go down this one. And now that we've got our graphite, we need the actual nuclear what is these things called? The reactor cells. And we need 14 of those, I think. Yeah, 5, 5, 4. Yeah. Now, I set up recipes because they all need all the various alloys. There's magnesium diboride alloy, hard carbon alloy, ferroboron alloy, and I feel like there's more. Right there, tough alloy. Right? So if you look in the quest book, not there. Back here. So even more alloys. You need the alloy furnace from Nuclearcraft, and these alloys can only be made in that furnace, of course. There's the alloys listed here, and I would highly recommend, because I'm not going to go over those too thoroughly, but I would highly recommend that you take what you see in the quest book and just follow the line. All right? It's extremely important that that's how that happens, because looking at these, the tough alloy, you need the alloy furnace from Nuclearcraft with a ferroboron plus lithium. The ferroboron alloy, you need the alloy furnace with steel and boron. The hard carbon is once again the alloy furnace with crushed diamond and graphite. And the magnesium diboride is magnesium and boron, right? So if you have the capability set with auto crafting, use it. Use it. That is the best piece of advice that I can give you. If you've got auto crafting set up, you need to use that auto crafting. Okay, now what I want to do is right here, towards the bottom, I want to kick down the reactor casings, and I want to do it in a specific order, okay? I don't want any of these two touching, because that's what the graphite is for. So we're going to put the graphite down, and then we're going to copy this pattern, and then we'll put more of these down, and then we're going to copy that pattern, and then we'll fill in the rest with the reactor cells, right? That, ladies and gentlemen, is the heart of the reactor. And honestly, no, I don't want to do it there either. I want it to be a little further away from the wall, because I need some space around it to be able to work and get stuff in. So I'm going to put it a little bit further in. Just a little bit, like right here would work. Yeah, because that's 2. So let's put this back down in that same order, right? And the order is important. Oh, not when you mess it up already. The order is important because everything in this mod for the reactors interacts with something else. So in this case, the reactor cells, more efficient for each other cell they are adjacent to, or for each adjacent line of moderator blocks. The graphite is a moderator block. So what it's going to do is it's for each moderator block plus reactor cell that touches, it's going to do some math for us. Basically, it's the base RF times the cell efficiency divided by 6 RF per tick. But it's also going to generate more heat, which that is the next part that we have to deal with, is the heat. Because as it sits right now, if we were to put fuel into this thing, it would explode, and it would be horrible. Horrible. And honestly, I'm not sure I want this many cells in here, but we're gonna see what we can do. So what we need to do, we need to look at the various coolers now, right? So let's look at, I've kind of got a plan in my head as to how this is going to work. So Redstone Cooler is 80 heat units per tick, must touch at least 1 reactor cell. Quartz Cooler, 80 heat units per tick, must touch at least 1 active moderator block. Okay. They don't have any interaction necessarily, but they kind of do at the same time, because they need to touch opposite types of cells. So let's make a bunch of the redstone cooler cells and a bunch of the quartz cooler cells. If I can find them. Yes. And then once we get those, we'll go back in there and we'll start building out the cooling process, right? Because we got our work cut out for us. We really, really do. We don't need any more graphite blocks. I don't believe we do anyway. I'll hold the cobblestone. We'll hold on to the pipes. The pipes. Let's get our quartz coolers. So what we need to do now, we're going to come back in here, right? And I need to put stairs on this thing because getting in and out is not fun. Okay, so the quartz is the moderator blocks. All right. And I should have gone up one. Crap. I tell you what, I'll be right back. All right, guys, I am back. So I got the coolers all made and I got everything kind of placed where we need it. So this is what I was talking about. Okay, so the quartz cooler must touch one active moderator. And the redstone must touch at least one reactor. Okay, so the reactors are redstone. And the moderators are quartz. So this is a big block O reactor, right? And there is a little bit of dead space, and that's fine. But let's come down here now, and we will click in here. So you can see, just off of those, our heat units are negative 4,320. I'll tell you right now, that is not going to be nearly enough. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and bump that way up right away. What we're going to do, we're going to take Theum coolers. And these are passive. We are going to do active cooling as well. But the Theums, they work a little differently. Okay, so what we're going to do, we'll put them all along the bottom, except in the corners, because all it says that it needs is to touch 2 reactor casings, I think, right? Let's see. Oh, no. Nope. Theums might not work. Says it needs to touch 2 reactor cells. Crap. Well, whatever. Theum's cheap. This may not work quite as well as I had anticipated. Or, I guess our other option would be to dump this because 2... no, though. I don't think I want to do that because then we're going to lose a lot of efficiency. Okay, so Theum out. But there are other options, that we have and we're going to use. So the Theum's out. Quartz and redstone I think we're done with. Let's see. That's water coolers. 2 active moderator blocks. I don't want to do that. Lapis. 1 reactor cell and 1 reactor casing. That's 100. Ooh. Let's do some of those. So those will help. And then we also want to get the active coolers going. So we're going to need 8 of those. All right, so there's our lapis, our lapi. The other thing we're going to need are buffers. Right, and I should have taught this thing that recipe. In fact, let's go do that right now. I guess I didn't make those. All right. So buffer. And put that down here. You can see our molecular assemblers are starting to fill up. And all the way down here at the bottom, that's where all of this Nuclearcraft stuff has gone. Okay, so what we're going to do is down here on the bottom, this says must touch at least 1 reactor cell and 1 reactor casing. So I'd like to replace the redstone guys down here with lapis, and that should improve the cooling, right? Let's go see. Not by much. A little bit. A little bit. Okay, but the big boost we're going to get is coming when the actives are done. So what else can we do here? Enderium requires 3 casings. And that has to touch both, so that's no bueno. That one's no good. The lapis we've already got in there. Magnesium, 1 reactor casing, and 1 moderator block. We could make a few of these and replace those quartz ones. Which will give us another 80. And then active moderator block, glowstone. Yeah, so each of these has kind of its own little hitch, right? In order to function, and water coolers are just awful. Tin cooler must be between 2 active lapi coolers along the same axis. But that gives us the same as the quartz, doesn't it? Where's the quartz? Right there. Yeah. So that's not really an upgrade in any way. But this should be. In fact, let's go see. Okay. Come on, get out. 4440. Okay, come on. Come on there, little guy. Yeah, 4,500. So right now we're at 4,500. What we need to do is we need to put the active coolers in place, and they're not actually going to do anything until we give them something that they need. Right, which in this case is light, because I don't want to die from a mob. But beyond that, we need to put the buffers in place, and then I will get a system put together. So we need to craft, I'm going to say 2 buffers. That should be good. Block and 1 reactor cell. I just want one that can touch reactor casings. Reactor cell, yeah, we know that. I mean, we could put some of these in with a water cooler. We'll figure that out in a second. What we need to do right now is get our buffers so that we can clip them in to the back, and I think we'll go like maybe right there. And then another one right there. And let's see if that still shows us as valid. Should. Yeah, it does. It does. Okay, now what we want to do is pop a hole right there. And honestly, we could run them straight down. And then over here, we kind of don't need that anymore. Right, because we'll just pump straight out. Yes. Okay. So what we want to do is use the active cooler. I gotta find it. I gotta find it again. For Inderium. Okay, and I do believe that it uses Resonant Ender as... I hope that's enough of these things. I don't think it's gonna be... Oh, yes it might. All right, very nice. Okay, so we'll have to get some more, but the other thing we need to do is throw a Resonant Servo right there and kick it on. Right, and then we need to get that connected to something in here. So what we're looking for... That should... Why is that not... Okay. Let me make sure this is Resonant Ender and not Inderium. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. All right, guys, I am back, and yeah, I added some stairs. They were the first block that I saw, and they're Skystone. Fancy, you know. So it is Resonant Ender, and the active fluid coolers have 20 millibuckets of Resonant Ender. The buffer back here is apparently empty because this is just holding it, I guess. I don't know. Back here, we've got Resonant Ender coming through through the buffer and in, right? So these are currently filling. It's going to take a little while for that to get completely filled up, but if you remember back to right before I took that little short recess, we were getting 4,400 or 4,500 heat units. We had a 4,500 heat unit flat rate with those coolers. Now we've got our 8 active fluid coolers, right? And they all have the Resonant Ender in them. All right, our pipes are full, our buffer is filling up, all that, blah, blah, blah. What's in this buffer? Anything? Yeah, see, this buffer has 16 buckets of Ender in it. And this one does not. You know what? Let's do this too. So this is going to push the Ender back. Which, that's fine. And what we need to do is probably get rid of that buffer. And put a reactor casing, which I put away. Of course I did. Why wouldn't I? Oh, and I still missed the door. So let's get that reactor casing back on there. And then we can start to work on firing this baby up. This episode is probably going to be a little bit longer than normal, just because I want to make sure that we can actually get this thing done. Right, that's my goal. I want to fire this puppy up. So, okay, remember, 4,500 heat units, right? Now we have our 8 active coolers, 26,000 heat units. That's what we're capable of dishing and dealing with, is 26,000 heat units. Okay, and that's just our piping. We can throw some water stuff in. We can do all kinds of stuff, all kinds of neat little things, right? But just by itself right now, using nothing but ender pearls and some redstone and quartz and lapis, 26,000. All right, easy enough. Easy enough. Now, will that be enough? I don't know. I guess we're going to have to find out. Wow. Frame rate issues. Okay. So, our reactor is now built. Right? Basically built. So what we need to do is using fuel rods. I don't know that we want to go straight to the HEU stuff, though. So can we like not do the HEU? Can we do the LEU? Okay, so here's the way these work. So empty fuel rod, 10 plus iron gets us a couple, and we actually probably should build a recipe for that. In fact, let's do that right now before we get too much further ahead. So down here in this section, we can drop that guy in there, right? So let's see what kind of fuels we can get into. So the LEU 233 is 144 hour for tick, 60 heat unit per tick. Per reactor core with the multiplier from the moderator. The math gets a little bit nutty, right? But that, that's okay. So the LEU 233, LEU 235 is just about double. It's a little bit less, actually. So 235 is a little bit less. The HEU is the higher stuff. But what I want to do is check which one is easier. So this one is uranium 233. I don't want oxide, though. I want this. Okay, so it can be either uranium or... So this is 235 and 238. Can we do that? No, we don't have the 235. Do we have a recipe, though, for that? So, LEU 233. I don't think we don't have a recipe for 233, but 235 we do. So we can make a recipe for that. And then how about the HEU stuff? Because it wants, which HEU did it want? Did it want 233? 235. 235, okay. So HEU 235, right there is a bunch of stuff. Okay, so we've got recipes for both of those now. Let's go put those down here in the assemblers. Right, so there is HEU and LEU. Now it wants us to deal with HEU. So let's, I guess... okay. Like, I don't want to do this, right? And then let's make an LEU as well. And that plus that. So I'm going to make patterns for these because we're going to need them. So that and that equals an HEU 235 fuel rod. And then we'll swap that out for the LEU 235. Make an LEU 235 fuel rod. And I'm making patterns again. Anytime you've got something that's going to be repeatable, you definitely need to make a pattern for it. So the HEU, the LEU. So what we're going to do, I want to craft up. We're going to do this. So we'll do an HEU right there and an LEU right there. Drop those fuel rods back in. And then it wants us to get... Okay, fly. It wants us to get the depleted version as well, right? So we need another lever that I didn't bring. Of course I didn't bring a lever. Why would I do that? Lever. So we'll grab a lever. And what we want to do, we want to make sure that the reactor itself is turned off. And to do that, we put that on there, right? So we're getting 26,000 heat units, okay? I want to see if we can do the HEU. So if this goes positive, we have a problem. Okay, so let's put the HEU in. Owie. Yep, we've got a problem. 19,000 heat units per tick on HEU 235. 19,000. So we have to cancel out 19,000 heat units to be able to support that. So let's look and see what we can do. All right, so let's go. Here to nuclear. And you know what? I tell you what. Let me give me just a minute. I will be right back. I'm going to try to figure out what we need to do to get this done, and I'll be right back, and hopefully we'll be able to fire it up shortly. All right, guys, I am back. So I made a few adjustments, and we are now 16,000 heat units in the negative, which is exactly what we're looking for. I'm not looking for the most efficient. I am looking for the safest before we fire this baby off. Anything where it starts building heat, it's eventually it's going to blow up, right? And that's not what I want. So our efficiency is fairly not good at 500%. Honestly, I don't know enough about this mod to really be able to make a really super efficient reactor. And the reactor has some dead space, but let me go over what I did. So I converted most of the redstone coolers that we had already in here, the passive ones. I converted those over to active, right? So these all have destabilized redstone, which that made a good chunk of a difference. So we've got active coolers in the corner, the resonant ender coolers. And then up top, we've got active water coolers. Okay, now these don't add a whole lot, but there is enough of them in here, and they're so cheap to run. And we've got something like 107,000 buckets of water in our system, in our ME system. So this is just hooked directly to the ME system. This is hooked to, out back here, a magma crucible that's been fully upgraded on the back. And it's just being fed redstone constantly, right? I'd like to get this buffer to get a little bit in it before we fire this thing off, but I think it'll be okay. And if not, then I'll always think it should have been. I've got 2 magma crucibles back here running Resonant Ender. I don't think we're going to need that much, but hey, you know, better safe than sorry, I guess. Yeah, I guess I guess we're about ready to fire off. So it's got the HEU fuel in it, which is exactly what this thing wants. Okay, well, I mean, we should be safe. So here goes nothing. It produces 33,000. Oh, wow, that burns through that quick. 33,000 RF per tick. Oh, that's cool. That's good. I can live with that, I think. Okay, so I guess now let's just do this last little bit. I'd like to get to a relatively safe point. Man, that thing's gonna chew through fuel, though. We got to find better fuels for that thing. The HEU just... Wow, that goes through that quick. What we need is a fuel reprocessor, which is an alloy furnace, some advanced platings. Let's see what we've got. We've got everything but the alloy furnace, which I made a recipe for. So we'll get that fired off, let that do its thing, and then we'll get the fuel reprocessor. Tackling fuel. And then let's come over here and we'll drop this guy right here, I guess. Right there. And then we need to disconnect you. And I don't have any item ducts on me, but that's okay. So we need to put this in here, and we've got some speed upgrades because these machines are pretty slow. Which gives us 16 tiny clumps of Neptunium, 24 plutonium 242s, 4 plutonium 239s, and 20 uranium 238s. So let's see. Okay, we're going to have to do that for a while to get to plutonium RTG. Plutonium finished up, though. Yeah, that's cute. Ludocrite. We could do Ludocrite, I think. Let's go take a look at Ludocrite. Now that we've got this reactor together, we fired it up. Good job today. Let's see if we can knock out Ludocrite. Because I'm sick of seeing it. So Ludocrite block should be no problem. And then I think it wants the ingots. Done. Ludocrite. Done. So one of our crown quests is complete. The next one we need is Californium, which actually, I believe, comes from the fusion reactor, not the fission reactor. I will do some more digging there. I'm going to run our reactor for a while. The Ludocrite, I don't think we're going to need anything to do with that for quite some time. I could be wrong. I doubt it. We're probably not going to need that until we get into... Oh, I can't remember the name of that mod. In any case, I'm going to look at the fuels, at the various fuels that we have access to, because if that's going to burn through that quickly, even though it's making 33,000 RF a tick, and it's doing it relatively safely, if we can get a fuel that comes closer to 0 on the heat and gives us enough power, then I am A-okay going with that. But you know, it's funny that I can walk in here right after this thing's been running. Yeah, I think that's where we're going to call it. We got our reactor going today. It was a bit of work and a lot of work off camera to get the machine set up, but like I said earlier, make sure that if you have access to any sort of auto crafting before you get into Nuclearcraft, do it. Take advantage of it, because there is so much tedious, redundant work that has to be done before you can get anywhere with this mod. It's a really cool mod. It's really interesting. I am enjoying it, and I hope you enjoyed it too. You know, leave me anything, any thoughts you have in the comments down below. I'd be really interested to hear what you have to think or say. If you got any tips for me, I'd take anything, because, you know, it's a cool mod. It's not something that's going away anytime soon. So, as always, if you like this episode, hit that like button. Really appreciate that. If you like what I'm doing on this channel and you're new around here, hit that subscribe button. And until next time, thank you for watching. Grumpy Giant signing out. Bye-bye.